Okay, today the topic which we are going to cover is Kubernetes Engine. Kubernetes Engine over quick start. Before moving to GKE, that is Google Kubernetes Engine. Um, let's discuss something about Kubernetes. Kubernetes is basically an environment which is used for managing your infrastructure of containers. And these containers are being made by Docker and these sort of software. But Docker is one of the most widely used one. So back to GKE. GKE is nothing but a managed environment of your containerized application that is being used for deploying, managing, and scaling your applications, which is of course the containerized one. And Google has more than 10 years of experience. So, so if we allow Google to manage our Kubernetes, so we are in the good hands. So let's discuss some benefits, what GK is provided. Uh, but basically, Kubernetes on Google Cloud has many benefits, such as load balancing of your compute engines, node pools, automatic scaling, automatic upgrade, auto repair of nodes, logging and monitoring. So we will be looking some key steps uh, to perform all these, and we will be starting with logging to our Google Console with the following um, credentials. So let's start the lab and give some basic information which he needs to verify. Uh, okay, so we are good with the starting of a lab. But what we will do, we will open lab in incognito mode. So, uh, so we will start the lab and we will start the lab over here and we'll start our lab. Okay, so we are good to go with the lab. Use another account and we don't need this account. We'll be using this one. The username is over here. The password is over here and next. So after signing in, all that procedures are already given over here. You just need to log in. I have to accept this. Okay, you can see after login, all that stuff which we have performed. And after some time, we will be on the Google console like this. So what's the first step is to activate our Google shell. Agree. It will take a little time and then we will open our Google Cloud shell. Of course, I wanted click back. It will take a little time to activate the Google shell. Before that, let me tell you the procedure. Actually, why we are opening shell just to confirm our project ID and everything. You can see GC project ID is written over here, but normally this command help us to give that information which is required. So we are good to go. Just make it authorized a little bigger. Now you can see this is my account. Let's confirm. Okay, let's here it is. And if I want to get my project ID, which is overwritten over here, you can see this my the last one is CDDF. CDD. So we are good to go. So this is a simple step just to verify if I'm logging into the console on the right one. First of all, what I'll do, I'll create my default compute zone. Let's say I'm selecting one US Central one, US East one, whatever suits to you. So let me set US Central one. This is a simple command. Gcloud is a word. Gcloud is a word which is used whenever you are giving any command to the shell. And then the config is an action, and then we have some parameter. For example, config set is one verb on US setting configuration on compute, and then slash the zone name, and then I click enter. So it will select, it will set my compute zone as a US central one, and we are good to go. And if it is updated, it means we are doing right. Then we will create some cluster of GKE, or you can say we are making master cluster of Kubernetes. So we will put VMs or machines in that clusters, and the machines which is in that cluster will be known as nodes. Okay, so first of all, I'll create a, okay. Now I will make it name as BAZ cluster. Okay, now I get the error that it should not be the capital one. So I will put again, and then I will remove that C, and then I put small c. Now it will take little time, and then we'll create cluster over here. Okay, you can see it will take little time because cluster is deployed over the US Central 1A. So let's wait, and then we'll see if it is created successfully. Now you can see that cluster was created, and now health check process is being done. And the master is healthy, and then it will take little time more, and then we are good to go. Okay, now we are in process of making cluster on GKE. Let's see if it is created. Now you can see it is successfully created over here, and you can see the name is Bass cluster location, which we already set, which is US Central 1A, and then the version of Kubernetes which is being used by the master. And the master IP is this, and the machine they are using is E2 medium, and the status is running. And number of nodes are 3 over here. That's very good to know that. Okay, now we will see if it is successfully created uh, by the system. Now you can see my our assessment is fast. It's mean it is created very right way. Now the third task which we need to enable is authentication credential for that cluster. It's something related with the security. Let's say we have one more command, gcloud. You know the meaning of gcloud is Google Cloud, which is always being used if you could run any command on Google command line interface, that is shell. And then you produce some word on which item you need to work on. Like we want to work on the containers, and then on the cluster, and we want to guide the credential. So you can see there's an action, and then what is the verb we are going to perform, and then we have a name over here. So what we'll do, we'll run that command, and let's see what we can see. First of all, let me clear this, and now you can see uh, it it fetches data from the Bash cluster. He says it is the cube config entry generated by the for Bash cluster. This is our cluster name. So if we if we want to see our cluster is now authenticated, now we are good to go. Now the our fourth task is deploy an application. That is the main thing, because making cluster is one thing, but putting some load and some application on it is very important thing. So right now we don't have any application to make it containerized. We just so what we'll do, we just bring some image from our Google GCR, that is Google Container Registry. We'll bring a small application which is nothing but a web page, and we will call on one of our server which is in our cluster. So this is simple deployment. So now we'll work on some kubectl command, that is kube control or kube control. So that is the word which is being used for Kubernetes. So we are now actually working on the Kubernetes. Previously, we were working on the GKE, that is associated with the Google. Now we are working on the real infrastructure of Kubernetes. So kubectl create deployment hello server, uh, and then image, and then the location. So kubectl is a word which is being used for the kube control of the Kubernetes control. And then we are creating what? So we are creating deployment. The name should be hello server, and digest image means you need to get the image from this location, and then we are just creating this thing. So let's try. Now what this command will do, it will create a deployment named as hello server from this location. So after doing this, let's see if deployment is being successfully created. Okay, let's see if it is created. Kubectl, kubectl, get deploy. Now you can see hello server is already available over here. So it should work right now. Now it's because it takes some time normally. That is no issue. Now what we are doing, we have created a deployment, but there is no service associated with that deployment. It's mean that web server is inside the Kubernetes, and we want to expose it. So we'll use that command kubectl, and what we are doing, we are exposing what we are exposing, the deployment. What is the name of that deployment? That is hello server. And what type of exposing you were using? We are using load balancer. On which port? 8080. This command we will run, and let's see what output it will get. So it will create a service. Now let's see what service kubectl get SVC. That is a short form of service. So you can see this one is default. Leave this. You can see 8 seconds ago it has created one service. Let's wait for a little time. As I mentioned, it will take a little time. Sometimes it takes time to generate external IP, which is normally a public IP. Now you can see the IP is available over here. So our next step is to get this IP and run the IP on our interface. So what we'll do, we will just copy this IP and open it on the browser, but make sure the port should be 80, 0 and 80. Boom. Now you can see hello world. The version is 1.00. Host name is this. So we are very good, and we have already created deployment, we created services, and we are good to go and open this web application, or you can see the containerized web application over the internet. Now what we want to do, we want to delete this cluster because we have done our lab and we have already completed our task. So we just go over here and write this command. Gcloud, you know the word Gcloud. We need to work on the container clusters. What we need to do, we need to delete this. Which one we want to delete? This is best cluster. And it will ask yes or no. We should say yes because it's not accidental. It is the one which is desired. So it will take a little time. Then we will be having in chances. So we can click on the progress and then it will be working fine. So it takes some little time, but don't worry, it will be deleted soon. It will be time, don't worry. And we have already completed our lab in less than 17 minutes. So meanwhile, it's being deleted. Let's recall what we have done in this lab and what was the purpose. Starting with the Kubernetes Engine quick start, we started with the discussion on Kubernetes. Basically, Kubernetes is nothing but a orchestration system for your containerized application, and containers are being deployed by the or created by Docker, which is mostly used. And then we came to the topic of GKE. GKE is nothing but a managed environment for deploying, managing, and scaling your containerized application using Google infrastructure, because Google is the one which has more than a decade experience. So it's always good to give the opportunity to Google to run our infrastructure for the containerized application. Then we move with some benefit of GKE. Then we shifted to the lab and we got into the Google console by using these username and passwords. And then after that, we initiated Google Shell, or you can say Cloud Shell in the short. And we put some command just to check our project ID and our account, project ID. You can verify over here as well. Then we select one default compute zone. Basically, there are several zones available in GCP, but we select one zone for our working. When we created our first GK cluster using these command, Google G Cloud Container Cluster create. It's simple. G Cloud is a word which is normally used for putting command to cloud, and the container cluster is the one like it's a noun and it's a verb, and then this is a parameter. So our cluster was created successfully. Then we put some credential or security mechanism. Then we deploy an application from GCR. GCR is the Google Container Registry. Then we deployed an application and created some services so it could be exposed and we can easily open that application, or you can say website from our browser using port number 8080, because port 80 is normally used for the web services. So we have used another port that is 8080, and we created a load balance service over here, and which was easily accessible. Then we started deleting our cluster. It took some time, and now you can see the cluster is deleted successfully. Now we can check our progress by clicking this button. If it was successful, our assessment should be completed, as you can see over here. So congratulations, you have just completed your first Kubernetes Engine start. Thank you.